Hi, I'm Caren. Welcome to Texas Farmstead Living and welcome to our Homestead Frugal Tips Masterclass. We are in week 2 of our 7-week series. So if you didn't watch week 1, go back and watch it. Each week for 7 weeks, we are giving 5 tips about how to be frugal on a homestead. This week's tips are, the first one is eat in the season that you're in. About 7 years ago, I started implementing this into our life. What that looks like is whatever is available, whatever you can grow or what you have, you try to eat what's available. And our rule is we use an 80-20 rule. We try to do 80% of what we have available in our farm and just keep 20% of what we purchase. So some things that'll happen when you do this is you start eating a simple diet. You just, whatever it is you have, you eat. It doesn't mean that, that you're buying all this packaged things at the store and that you are, spending a lot of money. Packaged items are very expensive. So our diet, since we are ranchers and we have beef, we eat beef, 3 times a day. We real simply cream peas. We can, we have lots of eggs. But it's really, so your taste palette will change and be more sensitive. And we don't eat a lot of sugar. So that is my first tip that I think has made a profound difference in our budget.
Yeah, and we don't live in a very high rainfall area either.
Right. We live in a semi-arid climate. We're garden zone 8A, even though I know that it just changed, I think, the last 2 weeks. Another thing that's a little different is I do believe it's very important to learn to pressure can, but I really don't use a lot of energy or resources to worry about canning the whole year. We just kind of grow. Some exceptions are like our blackberries and our peaches. Yeah. But we pretty much just whatever we can find. And we also have a really good winter garden. That's actually our best gardening time. So like if we need we have collards, we grow things that'll are evergreen. But I just don't really follow a lot of complicated, expensive recipes. And actually, we focus on, I guess, dairy, meat, and eggs.
A lot of dairy.
A lot of dairy because we have a herd of Jersey cows. And we really don't purchase many vegetables.
You make awful lot of cheese and...
Yeah, but we don't eat a lot. We don't eat like what everybody else does on the vegetables.
Not really.
No. We might have sauerkraut pretty much is all we offer most of the time, right?
Standards, squash and tomatoes and stuff like that.
Yeah, in the summer.
In the summertime.
But we pretty much stay within that. Okay, so now we're ready for our second tip from Mr. Rueffer.
Oh, well, one tip I think is feed from the feed store is very expensive when you're buying it full feed, pre-mixed. That can run into some money over a long period of time, and I think you ought to be think about grinding and preparing your own feed, blending it, mixing it on your own farm. But sometimes that entails finding a small feed mill grinder, maybe not a mill mixer, but just a grinder. But those are available secondhand, old.
You have one actually that you bought within the last year that you're grinding the dairy feed every morning with?
I have a small hand grinder that I just grind whatever the cows are going to eat that day, and but I'm more so if you're into a little bit bigger quantity of feed milling, you need to get one a little bit bigger that your tractor will run. I can remember back in the 50s when I was growing up, we had my grandfather, he had grinders and mills. He didn't have any mixers, but he just had mills, and that was before we had square balers even. All they had left over from the horse-drawn era, I think, was a one-row binder. And I can remember riding on that row binder in the seat that's on the side. I think it was a horse-drawn one, but he retrofitted it to be pulled by a tractor. It wasn't power takeoff, it just ran off of the wheels that roll on the ground like the old ones were. And you could sit there, watch it cut the green, like sorghumellum, old variety, or a red top cane, or some kind of a big tall cane, and all this was grown and planted in rows, not sowed. And sometimes the stalks on that variety was over an inch in diameter, and you know good and well the cows don't want to eat something that big, force them to eat it. So he had a mill that had a platform that would roll the feed, the bundle feed into the mill, and of course that bundle feed was tied with binder twine right there and then laid on the ground. You'd have to go and pick it up by hand and what you call shock it, stand it up in little teepees rather, and let it dry on its own, and then you'd have to haul it in and stack it in a bundle feed stack, and you had to know which way to lay the bundles so that it would drain water off the side where the whole bale stack wouldn't rot. But anyway, I can remember that feed grinder was powered by a belt off of an old tractor, and the belt was about 15 foot long and about 8 inches wide, and it'd pull those old mixers, and that chain-driven belt table would pull the bundle feed down in the mill slowly so it wouldn't get clogged up or stop the mill. And we grind hay all day long. Then we'd have to haul it and put it in the barn or shoot it over in the barn with a like a stovepipe or something. But that was the older ways. Finally in the 60s, we got modern and bought a mill grinder mixer to feed our hogs with. But anyway, we were feeding quite a bit of animals back then, and it's just a better way of life. And my dad, he just worked on the farm only, so I was out there with him all the day, every day, doing all this stuff, just growed up with it.
That's wonderful. I love Mr. Rueffer's old stories. Okay, now we are to tip number 3. I want to go back to number 1 and just tell you that at Thanksgiving we pretty much only ate what we produced at our farm, and it was real simple. It wasn't complicated, a lot of no packaged goods, and it was just fine. And I love to visit family and friends that just serve you what they have around their farm. It's always fresh, and of course we know it's very nutritious. Okay, number 3 is about cars. So there is a lot of social stigma around not having a car. But I want to tell you that since Mr. Rueffer retired, I we have a little rule: we either both go or we don't go at all. And so,
And having new cars.
yes, Mr. Rueffer, we have to have baling wire and duct tape for all of his vehicles. I think you even have to roll the window down for one of his trucks to start it with a piece of wire.
Used to. I got the wire run inside now.
But when you think about owning a car, a vehicle, you have license, you have inspections, you have tags and insurance. And I just do not want to deal with it anymore. It's not worth it to me. I am busy here on the farm. My children are grown. I don't really need to go anywhere unless Mr. Rueffer, if I need to go somewhere, he just takes me. If my friends just come visit me, or on the rare occasion I go somewhere, they don't mind coming and picking me up. So a car payment is hundreds of dollars a month. The insurance is extremely expensive. I would say we save thousands of dollars by just having one vehicle. And that vehicle is not new. It is actually, the cows have wrecked it and banged it up a lot. But I'm just completely, there's no way I'm going back to buying new vehicles and keeping all that up.
Too much insurance and
Yes.
stuff.
So just don't let people, they start kind of sometimes feeling sorry for me. They're like, you don't have a car. But I can have a car if I want one. I choose not to have one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at tip number 4.
Yeah, I'll lump that into feeding a while ago with the other one. You know, people now are saying you need to find your own personal farmer. So we in fact are personal farmers, but I also have to find my own personal farmer in the way of acquiring more hay or grain for my chickens or animals, pigs, whatever. And a good way to do that is just ask your neighbor. If your neighbor has a field and they do combining, or they grow wheat, milo, barley, oats, corn, whatever, just source your feed from them.
As local as possible.
As local as possible. And they don't mind. You just go out and some stranger and ask him if he sells bulk feed. He might just open up his combine and dump you in a pickup load or something, and just guess at what it costs and pay him right in the field. It's quite a bit of savings doing it that way, going straight to the farmer.
And you buy a lot of hay right out of the field.
Yeah.
And then your hay, you really need a relationship with your farmer, because it is very important to us that our hay is not sprayed with any kind of grass burr chemicals or any chemicals at all.
Glyphosates.
Yes. So, Mr. Rueffer, you have just a yearly relationship that when they are ready, they're come get it right then and get it out of their way, and you can get some savings.
You can listen to the farm report in the mornings, and they'll tell you how much wheat or milo or corn is going for, and compare that to the feed store. It's quite a bit of difference.
As a commodity,
As a commodity,
yes. Okay, we are at tip number 5, and this is a very unusual tip. So, we don't buy mattresses or box springs for our beds. Maybe, 5 years ago or more?
Longer.
Yeah. Mr. Rueffer, he builds, even on our antique beds, he builds a platform insert that we can sit down, and I'll show a picture. I'll show a picture of it. But he'll just, build a platform, and we buy the organic latex, 3-inch mattresses, and they're just $200 or $300. And then we'll put a wool, mattress cover, and then we do buy really nice, clean, sourced sheets, because you spend about a third of your life in bed. I feel like that is the healthiest option for our exposure to chemicals. And I feel like for physically, we had a friend that did a lot of research in sleeping habits of man throughout history, and he found that when you sleep on a soft surface, that actually you are weakening your muscles because they're not,
Straight.
yes. So it takes a few weeks to get used to this, but we're so glad that we did that. And as we've been changing out all of our beds at our different houses slowly, but there's no way we're ever going back to the, I don't know, it's what, $1,500,
It's
$2,000.
just
It's thousands of dollars to buy.
just a solid platform bed with a plywood top, and we use
Or, yeah.
put a little skirt on it, and looks cute.
I'm gonna show them some pictures.
And
I
it takes a
think
while for you to get used to your
it.
back, but
2 weeks.
I like it now.
Yeah, everyone that once they stay, one of our houses, they're like, they love it. So thousands of dollars you can save by that.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope these tips will help you, and next week we will be back at week 3 with 5 more tips. We hope you have a blessed week. From our Texas Hill Country farmstead to you, have a blessed day, and we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.